You're standing on one side of the road, your mate's on the other. You hurl a football at the opposite kerb, hit it clean, and it bounces straight back into your hands. Miss, and your mate takes over. That was Kerby, Kerbsy in some places. The reason it's gone is simple. You can't hit a kerb you can't see. Once every street filled up with parked cars, the game couldn't be played anymore. That's just one of the games in this video that we used to play on every street, every estate, every back lane in the country, and almost all of them have vanished. Now, someone would shout it, and the whole street would reorganize itself in about 30 seconds. British Bulldog, one person in the middle, everyone else lined up at one end. The rule was simple. Get to the other side without being caught. But caught didn't mean tagged. You had to be picked up off the ground, which meant the person in the middle wasn't just chasing you, they were wrestling you, properly. Arms round the waist, dragging you down, hoisting you up while you kicked and squirmed and tried to break free. It got better as it went on. Every person caught joined the middle. So each round, there were more people trying to stop you and less room to get through. You'd come home with ripped jumpers, grass-stained knees, and the occasional bloody nose you never told your mum about. Individual schools started banning it from the 1970s onwards for what they called excessive roughness. There was never a national ban. Just one school at a time deciding it was too rough, which of course did nothing except make it legendary. The moment it was banned, everyone wanted to play it more. Tin can squat. Someone would boot a tin can down the road, a soup tin, a baked beans tin, whatever was lying about. While the person who was it went running after it, everyone else scattered. That was your head start. It was like hide and seek, but with a twist. If the seeker wandered too far from the can, you could sprint out from wherever you were hiding, boot the tin as hard as you could, and everyone who'd been caught went free. Everyone hid again, and the whole thing started over. The trouble was, the kid who was it couldn't win either way. Go looking for people, and someone boots the can behind you. Stay near the can, and nobody ever gets found. You could watch them standing there, looking one way then the other, knowing the second they moved, someone was coming for that tin. And the best seekers learned to fake it. They'd take 3 steps away, then spin and sprint back the moment they heard footsteps. It had different names everywhere. Tin Can Tommy in some places, Tin Can Lurky in others, Kick the Can further south, and you could hear that tin rattling across the tarmac from 3 streets away. If you had a smooth wall near your house, you had everything you needed for this one, because Pebble Dash ruined it. You'd stand with 2 tennis balls and bounce them against the wall in a routine that got harder every round. You'd throw one under your leg, one behind your back, clap before you caught them, try it with your eyes closed. There were chants that went along with it, and they changed from street to street. You'd see a girl doing it against the side of her house for a full hour, completely in her own world. Some used a tennis ball inside one leg of an old pair of tights and swung it against the wall instead. Finding a smooth wall was half the battle. The neighbour's patience was the other half. Older girls taught it to younger ones, and they taught it to the next lot, and then one day nobody was doing it anymore. Now this one deserves to be remembered because almost nobody talks about it. Rallyo. 2 teams. A home base, usually a lamppost or a gate. One team hid, one team hunted. If you got caught, you stood at the base like a prisoner, but if one of your teammates made it back to base without being tagged and shouted Rallyo, then every prisoner was freed and the whole hunt started again, which meant the hunting team had to split up, some out searching, some guarding the prisoners, and the hiding team had to decide, do I stay safe or do I risk everything to rescue my mates? Kids were working out tactics, negotiating roles, making sacrifice plays. No adults needed. Some people called it Rallyo, others called it Relievo or Release. Every street had its own rules. A properly good game of Rallyo could run for an entire afternoon, the kind where your tea was going cold on the table and your mum had called you 3 times already. But the game wasn't finished and you just needed 5 more minutes. The next morning, someone would still be arguing about whether that tag counted. September, the horse chestnuts start falling, and for 6 weeks nothing else matters except conkers. But I'm not just talking about the game, I'm talking about everything around it. First, the collecting, throwing sticks into the trees, filling your school jumper like a pouch, carrying them home like treasure and tipping them out on the kitchen table. Then the preparation, and this is where people got secretive. Some soaked them in vinegar, some baked them in the oven, some left last year's conker in a dark cupboard all summer, just waiting for this moment. Everyone had a method, and everyone swore theirs was the one that worked, and everyone accused everyone else of cheating. You'd drill a hole through the middle, thread the string, tie a knot. A new conker was a none-er. Beat someone's conker, and yours became a oneer. Beat a fiver, and yours absorbed all their points, plus 1 for the win. Suddenly, you were walking round the playground with a battle-scarred conker worth 20, and people treated you like a general. And the Stampsies debate, could you stamp on a dropped conker or not, caused arguments that lasted longer than the games. Some playgrounds allowed it, some didn't. If you dropped your conker and the other kid shouted Stampsies before you shouted no Stampsies, it was gone, crushed under a school shoe. All that soaking and baking and careful drilling done in 1 second. Long rope skipping, not on your own with a little rope. I'm talking about the big one. 2 kids turning, everyone else taking turns jumping in. The rope was almost always a washing line borrowed without asking, because those were the only ones long enough. The chance kept the whole thing going. Salt, mustard, vinegar, pepper. And on pepper, the turners went as fast as humanly possible. There were rhymes that predicted who you'd marry, rhymes that named boys from school, rhymes that had been passed down so long nobody knew where they started. Some were rude, some made no sense at all, but they all kept the timing right. The skill was jumping into a rope that was already moving without breaking the rhythm. Everyone watching could tell in half a second whether you'd managed it. A clean entry got a nod, a fumble got a groan. Queeny Queeny. One person stood with their back to the group and threw a ball over their shoulder. Someone caught it or picked it up. Everyone put their hands behind their backs. Queeny turned around and the whole group chanted, Queeny, Queeny, who's got the ball? Are they short or are they tall? And then it became a staring contest. Queeny had to read faces. The person with the ball was trying not to look at it. Their friends were trying not to look at them. 8-year-olds pulling poker faces with a tennis ball hidden behind their back while the whole street watched for the giveaway smile. Simple game, but it kept whole streets going for years. One team set off first with a piece of chalk. They were the hares. They left arrows on the pavement, marks on curbstones, chalk on the side of a wall where the road turned. The second team, the hounds, followed, trying to catch them before they reached the end point. But the hares could lay false trails, an arrow pointing down a dead-end alley while the real route went the opposite direction. They called it tracking, and the game could cover an entire neighborhood. Streets, cuts through estates, back alleys. Kids covered a mile or more without ever thinking about it as exercise. It was a game for long summer evenings when the light didn't fade until 9. The hares had to think ahead. The hounds had to trust each other and read the clues. It might be the most clever game on this whole list, and it's almost completely gone. One child is Mr. Wolf, facing away from the group. Everyone else lines up at the far end and shouts the question. "What's the time, Mr. Wolf?" Wolf calls back. 3 o'clock. You take 3 steps forward. 7 o'clock. 7 steps. And with every answer you're getting closer. You know what's coming. You know that one of those answers is going to be dinner time, and the wolf spins and chases. The whole game runs on that feeling. Those last few steps when you're so close you could reach out and touch them. Your feet keep moving even though every part of you wants to stop. Someone giggles, someone whispers, and then it comes. The wolf spins round, everyone screams, and you're running for your life. Absolute chaos for about 5 seconds, and then everyone lines up and does it all over again. You made it yourself. That was the point. a stick of chalk and a bit of pavement, and you had a game, Hopscotch. You'd draw out the numbered squares, find a flat stone, and toss it into the first square. Then you'd hop through the grid on one leg, skipping the square where your stone landed, pick it up on the way back, and start again on the next number. The rules changed between every street, every group, every summer. Nobody taught you. You learned it from the slightly older girl 2 doors down, who'd learned it from someone else. In Glasgow they called it peavers, and played with a shoe-polish tin filled with dirt instead of a stone. A wall, a tennis ball. That's all you needed. You took turns throwing the ball at the wall and catching it on the way back. Miss it, fumble it, drop it, and you collected a letter, K-I-N-G-Y. And the moment someone had all 5, everything changed. They walked to the wall, faced it, hands flat, and waited. Everyone else stood back and took 1 shot each, aimed right at their back. You could hear every footstep behind you. Everyone who played it can still feel it in their shoulders 40, 50, 60 years later. Tig, but the moment your feet leave the ground, you're safe. Off-ground tig. Kids were scrambling onto walls, bins, doorsteps, gateposts, anything. Could you stand on someone's foot and be safe? Did a crack in the pavement count? Was a parked car fair game? Every street had its own rules, and they changed mid-game, sometimes mid-chase. What it did was make every wall and step and curb and postbox matter. Where you lived decided how you played. Every playground had its own economy running on marbles, and it was taken completely seriously. You had your ordinary glass ones, your cat's eyes, your steelies that were really just ball bearings from your dad's shed. And if you were playing kipsies, whatever you knocked out of that ring was yours to take home. Whatever you lost was gone for good. Kids walked around with pouches full of them, that big blue galaxy you got off the kid in the year above, the cat's eye your granddad gave you, and then one afternoon you'd lose your best one, gone in a single flick, and the kid who won it would just drop it in his bag like it was nothing. You'd try to win it back the next day. Most of the time you didn't. The one everybody did, but nobody admitted to. The rules were simple. Knock on a door or ring the bell and run. Knock down ginger, except it wasn't called that everywhere. London called it knock down ginger. The northeast said knocky 9 doors. Scotland had chap door run, or the shortened version chappy. The Midlands and Yorkshire went with knock a door run, cherry knocking in parts of the southwest and East Midlands. Every region had its own name, and every region was completely sure theirs was the right one. You'd pick your lookout, you'd agree on an escape route, someone would knock, everyone would run, and the argument afterwards was always about who ran slowest. The brave kid would go back and do the same house twice. And then there was the version where instead of running, you'd hide in the front garden behind the hedge and watch the neighbour open the door to nobody, then do it again 3 minutes later. Watch them come back looking properly annoyed this time. Everyone did it. Everyone got caught eventually, and everyone still smiles about it. And the neighbour who never gave your ball back, well, they got an extra knock. Every time. If any of those games just took you straight back to a street you haven't thought about in years, tell us in the comments. What did you call it where you grew up? And if you know someone who played these games too, send this to them. Please subscribe to the channel to keep these stories alive.